We're rolling? Thank you. We are reconvening the committee of the whole meeting, May 29th. Our next item on the agenda is the asset management plan. And Councillor Xu, would you like to move a motion? Would you like to, you already moved the motion. No, we did not. Okay, would you like to move the motion?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, you're moving the motion?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, please go
I'd
ahead.
like to move a motion to support this, and because I'm not sure that if my questions are related to the presentation, so I put all my questions in this part. And for the asset management, I'm just wondering to learn more about how grading works. Is the grading defined by the city or by a third party independent agency? That's my first question through the chair. It's about grading.
Through the chair to Councillor Xu, I'll allow staff to answer the question. However, you're referring to the grading of the assets as it relates to their condition being very good all the way through to very poor? Is that what your question is referring to when you said grading?
Yes, it's in general, how the grading works. Yeah.
Certainly. I'll allow staff to provide some greater context related to that.
I'll have Steve Tennis, our manager of corporate asset management.
Through the chair to the councillor, the condition grading depends on the type of asset being examined. So for example, for roads, we have a vendor on a 3-year contract that uses technology on the van to assess the pavement quality of the roads. For our sewer system, for example, the Pt2 team uses closed circuit televisions to drop into the pipe to assess the structural defects in that pipe. And from there, we assign a condition rating. For other assets like fleet and equipment, for example, we look at kilometers and or the age of the asset because equipment has a shorter life. So in those instances, you don't do a formal technical assessment, you rely on age. So it really depends on the asset. And if it's a simple inspection, we staff do it. If it's a more complex inspection like bridges, we have a consultant inspect our bridges for safety.
Thank you. My next question is for the chair. Are there any plans or standard procedure to handle different grades, especially for those core assets? Let's say, for example, wastewater collection. Okay, in this area, is a grade F, okay, very poor. So the normal procedure is just make it no longer in use right away and just needs for fixing right away. Okay, for that area is only the grade B. Okay, so it's a poor only. So we can wait 2 more years, something like that. Is there any standard procedure for that to handle different grades?
Through the chair to the councillor, you're basically describing some of the life cycle strategies that we've developed through asset management. So for example, the roads, when the roads hits a peak, like a pavement quality index of usually around midlife, it requires a resurfacing. So that's when it would be triggered and staff would examine that. And based on the assessment and the life cycle, they would go and hire a vendor to resurface that road. For other assets, like a water main or a sewer main, as you were alluding to, in those instances, we identify based on its structural defects through its pipe inspections and the year, and we would proactively plan through the capital budget to address those. So before they get to very poor and fail, we identify what they are, we put them in the capital budget, and we try to address them through the funding that way. So it's always about trying to be proactive, and the degree of proactiveness depends on the type of asset we're looking at.
Thank you. I have no question anymore, but my last comment is regarding the components of core asset. I suggest that production services should be part of this category. I recall a conversation with Fire Chief Burbish one day about our facilities. And he mentioned that the tallest ladder we have now can only reach 10 stories or something. And we don't have any water bombing helicopter for high-rise emergency. And at the same time, with more high-rises coming and expected in the coming years, it's crucial for the city to upgrade these facilities or even replace the fire emergency facilities in the coming years. So in my opinion, just my 2 cents, protection services should be considered a core asset. Because at the end of the day, we are just talking about saving lives. So this is just my 2 cents. Yeah.
Great. Through the chair to the counselor, the identification of core versus non-core is strictly a regulatory requirement the province has pushed onto all municipalities. So we've described it that way just to make sure that we can tick the box and tell the province we've met their regulation. I fully agree, fire and protection is definitely a core service. For us, we try to use it more as, is it a major infrastructure, which would be the water, sewer, storm, and essential services, which would be fire, library, and so on. So the core and non-core is just strictly a regulatory thing that we identify just to make sure that we satisfy the provincial requirements.
So when you review or evaluate if some asset is depreciate or need to fix, is they on the same standard for core asset or non-core asset? Is there a different standard or different procedure to handle that?
Through the chair to the counselor, there is different standards. So for example, on fire protection, I'll just give a high level answer and Commissioner Steele could add to it. But on the fire side, there are strict requirements that fleet need to be replaced on a certain schedule, that the bunker gear, that the PPE for the firefighters need to be replaced on a strict schedule. Whereas other assets like roads, for example, you have some flexibility on when you want to do a resurfacing or do a full reconstruction on it. So it can really depend on the asset you're looking at.
That's all my questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Through you, the chair. Just want to make sure that I understand how the assessments work and the priority of assets. So I'm assuming that you prioritize assets in a certain manner in terms of how we assess them. And I would imagine that there's probably some assets that, you know, yes, we have a certain life cycle that we look at, but if the use is still at an acceptable level or things like that, they may rank a little lower. So I imagine there's some sort of ranking system. In the presentation earlier, it mentioned a 2.5% backlog. Would that, you know, perhaps you could help me understand if that 2.5% backlog would be considered in a lower priority areas or something along those lines, if you could give some sort of indication.
Through the chair to the counselor, that 2.5% of our total value of our assets in the backlog, the majority of them are for storm, water, sewer, and roads, the core infrastructure. But of those major 4, storm is the highest. So, for example, on the one slide we showed where there was $450 million worth of assets in poor or very poor, about over 100 million, so over 25% is for storm. So we know that we can track all that data. And as Acting Commissioner Gigi Lee mentioned yesterday, BCW, staff are looking very closely at the storm needs. And we're going to be refining those, and it's all going to be part and parcel of the fact that we know we have infrastructure renewal needs for storm, and it's going to be part of the rate structure exercise that's going to be coming forward.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good to know. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Carried. And our next order of business is 12.1, member motion by Mayor West. Mayor?
Thank you very much. So I'm going to try to kind of encapsulate this motion into a couple of minutes. But suffice it to say, I think in essence, this is an opportunity that I think that the city of Richmond Hill is uniquely positioned to take. I think it was 2015, the United Nations came up with 17 sustainable development goals, and it's actually very interesting. I find it very interesting, the number of different items that they've come up with within that 17. But suffice it to say that they're goals that they're encouraging us to take across the globe to create a better environment and better human environment for all of us. I had the pleasure of getting engaged with the Urban Economy Forum and the Toronto-based World Urban Pavilion a little while ago, and they, through discussions with them, they made an opportunity known to me that they have a front runner city program that I think that Richmond Hill would be very well positioned to take advantage of. Both to leverage the knowledge in that program, to learn what other communities are doing, and frankly, show the world, the local community, and so on, what we're doing already in terms of natural environment. One of the goals in particular is the goal of sustainable cities, and this is the one that I'm most interested in. Although I will mention that we've had lots of discussion today about goal number 6 in the Sustainable Development Goals, which deals with clean water and sanitation, which I think we're also doing a good job on, and the discussion today kind of highlights that. But sustainable cities is something that I think Richmond Hill has been doing for quite some time, and I think we are maybe a little bit more humble on the work that we're doing than what we should be, because I think that there is an opportunity for us to kick up our game a little bit and be acknowledged as a leader in that area. So I think that we have something to offer to be participating in this program. If we were to take on this program, as this motion suggests, we would be one of the first, I think, maybe the first in Canada, at least in Ontario, to do this. So I think there is an opportunity for us to show good leadership in that. I've talked to staff quite a bit because I'm very cognizant of, I don't want to create a situation where we're duplicating work that we're already doing. But in communication with staff and in communication with the Urban Economy Forum, it's pretty clear that the work that we would be expected to do in a program like this is already being done, maybe in a slightly different way by our staff, but the fit is actually quite good. So I think, this makes perfect sense to me to be involved in this. I think it opens up opportunities for us to learn and to also share some of the information that we're already doing around sustainable cities. But I think it's, something that I've always taken a lot of pride in Richmond Hill, that we are doing a really, really good job. And I think that, the information that we have put together is something that we could be sharing with other communities in that regard. So this motion is asking us to sign a letter of intent with the Urban Economy Forum to create and promote an urban transformation profile for Richmond Hill as part of the Front Runner City program. And then it's also asking the staff be directed to further explore the nature of this collaboration as a candidate frontrunner of urban SDGs, with consideration of existing staff capacity and resources in order to define the terms of participation in a jointly developed memorandum of understanding with the Urban Economy Forum and World Urban Pavilion. So I would ask for support on this. This is basically the step that we need to take to, get the ball rolling down the hill. And as I said, I had extensive conversations with staff and with the folks from the Urban Economic Forum. And I think that the partnership is ready to go if we pass this motion. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Regional Local Councillor Chan.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Mayor West for bringing this forward. I have the fortune actually be also speak previously at the Urban Economy Forum in 2019 and 2020. It's certainly a forum that actually have an opportunity to connect and hear best practices from people interested in urban area all over the world. Like we're talking about public spaces and all that. And as well, there is an angle in addition to the United Nations, the SDG goals, that's economic development side of it. So, and that's, I think, to the extent that capitalize on, we do have the UN University, the center here, specialized center in here, not only would help further foster, strengthen the academic link, so to speak, but there will be on urban economy because my recollection, the ones that I've been to, there's talking about many things such as, what would be the new urban form would be like, and you can learn from multiple experiences. It's certainly something worth exploring. So signing the letter of intent is the first step, which is great to set the stage and also exploring about the potential economic development side of it. So I'm in full support of that. And thank you, Madam Chair, and let's make it happen.
Thank you. Any more remarks? I see none. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And I think our final order of business is move for adjournment. Do we have someone move that motion, please? Councillor Thompson, all those in favor? Thank you very much.